I got the movies.
Ah!
Ah!
Well, happy First Year Friday, everybody! And happy 70th anniversary to Gojira!
Godzilla! Oh, wait, Godzilla!
Yes, so, as the title should imply, we just saw Godzilla Minus One.
Yes.
Which I did not understand the meaning of going into it, but evidently after World War II, Japan was considered at zero. They were so devastated and from the destruction of the war that they were considered to be at zero, and Godzilla attacking them while they were at such a down point in their lives was what brought it to minus zero. Or minus one, rather, yeah. So that apparently is what the meaning is of the title. So Azurina is a much bigger Godzilla fan. She's seen many more of the movies than I have.
I'm not a big fan of kaiju.
But I have seen the original, as you were showing them earlier. I had seen the American Godzilla with Matthew Broderick in it, that Zilla. And I had seen the few of the latest ones, what was it, 2014 Godzilla, I think it was called, and then the Godzilla King of the Monsters that you were holding there. I'd seen that one. I don't think I'd seen many other ones besides that. I didn't really get into any of the import movies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't even know how, I'm pretty sure this was the first Godzilla that I saw, which was now not considered Godzilla anymore. It's Zilla. But yeah, that was the first ever that I saw him. I definitely saw the cartoon that was based on it, which apparently the spines lighting up from what I was just reading came from that cartoon. That's where it originated, I guess. But yeah, I thought this movie was fairly enjoyable. I didn't have any expectations going in, other than you had said that it was going to be dubbed, and unfortunately it was not.
Yeah, I was so sure. I read nothing about the movie.
It didn't hamper my experience. I mean, the fact that I did know some Japanese, so there was a few different familiar lines that came up. I was like, oh, I recognize that phrase, or I recognize that word. It didn't have overly complicated Japanese. There wasn't a long string of
the
of
fans
talking.
don't want to know about
your
Japanese. No, they want to hear about the giant monsters.
There was only one though. It's Godzilla, Gojira.
What about the government?
Although I
war?
will say though that I feel like they were actually calling him Godzilla and not Gojira all the time though. What did you think?
It sounds very similar with the Japanese
I feel like some of them at first it was interchangeable, but then by the time the movie started,
I think it's just because you're thinking, hey,
maybe
this for us is Godzilla, but it sounds almost identical when you say it with the accent. Godzilla. It's so close, especially.
I will say they also did make they did have a scene where they made reference to why that name, as it derives from the word for whale. They mentioned that briefly in one scene. But anyway, so what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. That it just reminds me, I had a Transformer book that mentioned God Masters, which is what they called Power Masters in Japan, and the example they had was Godzilla. It's like, oh, God means power, and Zilla means lizard. I'm like, I don't think that's what they were going for, guy. The book had a few erroneous entries in it, but I just thought that was because it was a Transformer book. What are you doing with this? But I enjoyed it. I did see the last, basically the only other recent import of Gojira that I've seen was Shin Gojira, and that was, of course, Shin Godzilla here in the United States.
It means new.
Yes,
Shin means new.
And because they were doing this whole thing with rebooting all their major franchises, they were systematically going through very slowly. But I'd seen that with a family member, and it was it was okay. I mean, that one was a mixture of a practical suit with CGI. They basically covered the flaws with CGI, and it was all right, but it got weird. The costume was a little off, and it was 90% people sitting around a table.
This is Shin Godzilla you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Shin Godzilla. It's people sitting around a table, just discussing what they're gonna do, and it was very realistic, but it was boring as heck, and it got really campy.
Now, this was also subtitled, or was it
Still
dubbed?
Shin Godzilla, and yes,
No, I mean, like, Shin Godzilla was translated?
No, this
or...
one I think Shin Godzilla I think was dubbed.
It was dubbed, okay.
I think so. I don't remember.
You're not sure, okay.
Yeah, I do remember there being a part where they had English speakers, and it was just like their acting was over the top and silly.
Okay.
And it had
But not this movie.
Yeah.
This movie, there was like one bit of English that was in there, and that was like a radio broadcast.
Yeah, there was a radio
Otherwise, there were
broadcast
no Americans.
of the war, and it used, which was a cool segment because it used some archive footage from the original movies, so it was pretty cool. I liked it.
So, going through the cast list, we have Minami Hamabe as Noriko. We have Kamiki Ryunosuke as Koichi. He is our protagonist.
Yeah, we should say Shikishima because they generally refer
Koichi
to,
Shikishima, yeah.
They refer to him by Shikishima throughout the entirety of the movie. They almost never say his first his family name.
Hidetaka Yoshioka as Kenji Noda. Yuki Yamada as Shiro Mizushima. Munetaka Aoki as Sosaku Tachibana. Sakura Ando as Sumiko Ota. And Kuronosuke Sasaki as Yoji Akisu.
Yes, they were very handsome and beautiful.
Yes, I don't know if any of these actors are big names in Japan or not, but I thought everybody did a great job. Everybody who was meant to be likable was likable. Everybody who was meant to be dislikable
ended up becoming likable.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job being dislikable at first.
Yeah.
But
they,
I don't know what that was.
Don't worry about it. Keep the video going. Be professional here.
But anyway, did not realize the movie was as long as it was. It says it was 2 hours and 5 minutes. Definitely did not feel overly long or too short. I thought the runtime was a good length. What did you think about how much Godzilla shows up in his own movie?
I thought it was all right. I would have liked more.
Yes.
It does the same thing where they're trying to really push the human side of the story, which I guess a lot of the movies actually have done that. A lot of the Godzilla movies or Gojira movies have they spend a lot of time with the bureaucracy and the interpersonal relationships of the people involved. If you do watch a classic movie, it does really kind of play out that way. It's not just some of the movies are monsters start to finish. A lot of the movies, it's people like, what are we gonna do? I've got this ridiculous gadget or setup to help fight.
Also, I'd like to point out that unlike some of the other more popular Godzilla movies where, Godzilla is almost like, man's protector fighting off all the other, monsters that are invading, this one is about, he's the bad guy. Godzilla is the threat.
Yeah, they kind of flip-flop throughout the different series, whether he's good or bad. Or neutral. And
there's a lot of really good scenes of Godzilla, wreaking havoc, and he looks great. They don't unlike the 2014 movie, they don't try to only show him, in parts or obscured or anything. When they show Godzilla, you see Godzilla. Right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. You get pretty good views, and I really like the CGI model they used for him.
They did a great job of making it look real.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was like bad CGI or.
There were a few moments here and there where I was like, it's great, especially considering what they're doing, but it's not perfect. I feel like there's a few areas where they could have touched it up a little bit. But I did appreciate how they even made him move like a guy in a costume.
Yeah,
To
really.
keep in with the original appearance. Not always, but there's a few scenes, especially when he's walking, he does this staccatoed walk where he's slowly moving, he slams his foot down, and he picks the next one up, and it is like... Yeah, the original actor did that for a dramatic effect because you gotta show, hey, it's a monster, they're weird or whatever. Now that they can show you the scale, all the different angles they chose were magnificent since they kept them as smaller in this movie like the original.
One other thing I definitely liked about the movie was getting to see Japan in as a period movie.
Yes.
I'm really wondering how accurate they got it. I'm presuming that they did a really good job of making it, representative of this particular time period. Sometimes when they do these sort of period movies, they just use another part of the country or another location as a double, California doubling or Canada doubling and stuff like that, where they just take a different area and like dress it up to look like it's that place or that time period, that sort of thing. But I don't know. I would think this looked like it probably actually was what Japan looked like back then. Although the early parts of the movie where they're in like a shanty town kind of thing was like really like sad and depressing, but that was obviously what they were going for. Things eventually get back to being, in the city that's being rebuilt post World War II, and it's pretty well done. The destruction that Godzilla wreaks is pretty cool looking, pretty devastating. Am I saying too much? What's going on here?
I'm just waiting for you to stop.
Okay.
I didn't stop. Yeah. You keep going. What's up? Why did the video stop?
What are you thinking?
I don't know. It's fine. A lot of new camera angles and stuff. It was cool.
All right. So yeah, if you're a Godzilla fan, you do good to check this movie out. If you're not a Godzilla fan, then I guess I don't know why you're watching this video, but hopefully you enjoyed it. We've got a few other movies we've seen lately we could talk about in other videos, including Lucky Number 11, which was recommended to Azurean by a friend, along with previous movie we reviewed of The Usual Suspects. And we also saw Silent Night recently, which we are thinking about doing a dual review with another movie we saw previously.
Yeah, sounds good.
And we're also we've got plans to do a tier list of all of the Marvel movies that are based on Marvel properties, and a farewell to all those famous people we've lost in the year 2023. So look forward to those, and until then, we'll see you all later. Thanks for watching. And happy First Friday. Bye bye. And happy 71st anniversary, Godzilla!